Assalamualaikum and a very good morning to the lecturer. Today we will presenting about our group assignment. For our assignment is oil power generation. Okay, this is our group member. The first one is Muhammad Zaimi Azram bin Hamidi. His metric number is 19109166. And number 2 is Muhammad Amri Fahmi bin Muhammad Desa, and his metric number is 19109045. And the number 3 is me, Asal Mimi bin Hashim. My number metric is 19101007. And the lastly is Muhammad Amir bin Razak, and his metric number is 19109042. Okay, I will continue with the introduction. The process of generating power is known as the generation. The generation process takes place at the power station or generating unit, which convert one type of the energy into electrical energy. There are many different types of the power plant for generating electricity, such as hydro power plant that using flowing water, nuclear power plant that use nuclear fission, reaction and uranium, coal-fired power plant that utilize steam coal, solar power plant that use sunshine, and many more. And oil power generator, also known as thermal power plant, produce electricity by burning oil or fuel. This generator runs on fossil fuel such as coal and natural gas. The most common form of generator used around the world is an oil power generator. Unfortunately, the carbon dioxide, nitrogen oxide, and sulphur oxides emitted into the atmosphere by this generator contributed to air pollution and global warming. Next, I will continue with the theory. Thermal power plant use heat to generate electricity. Heat is released when a resource such as oil is heated or burned. The thermal energy is used to generate the heat. Heat can be converted into the kinetic energy by the power plant using the thermal energy or chemical energy. This heat or thermal energy transfer is now transforming to the liquid water into steam. As a result, this steam may now be transformed into mechanical energy, which at high pressure can operate a turbine that creates electricity. The oil is supplied to the power plant. The oil is then burned in a massive furnace, converting chemical energy into heat energy. The heat causes the water to boil and create steam. The device known as a steam turbine is instead to turn the energy of steam into kinetic energy. The steam turbine boiling hot water is cooled in heat exchange called condenser and become liquid water, which is then cycled again. The kinetic energy of the turbine as experienced can be utilized by the generator to generate power electricity. The electricity is transferred from the generator to a nearby transformer. As a result, electricity lost some of its energy and is traveled through the wire cable. Although high voltage electricity losses less energy than low voltage electricity. The electricity generated at the plant is then stepped up or boosted to a very high voltage when it exits the plant. Once the power arrives at the destination, another transformer known as step-down transformer converts it back to the lower voltage that is safe for use homes. And finally, electricity will be delivered to the household via the underground lines. That's all from me. Thank you.
Thank you, Aslah Helmi. Now, I want to present about system block diagram. There are 5 blocks in the system block diagram: oil storage, furnace, boiler, turbine, and generator. The function of a storage is a pipeline that transportation transport oil to the power plant. Second is a furnace. Furnace that the oil from the storage was boiling or heated in the furnace that the energy was transferred into the boiler. Then the boiler, the heat energy from the furnace was mixed in the water to produce steam to move the turbine. Fourth is the turbine. The turbine is used to control and regenerate the feed water heating system. The system is routed through a turbine, which is made up of several fan blades linked to the shaft. The shaft spins as the steam passes over the blades. It will produce kinetic energy. Then the last is a generator. This rotating shaft is linked to the rotor of the generator, which generates electricity. It is because the kinetic energy converts to the electrical energy. Then the fatal solution side for the oil power generation. The first is ability of the water resource. The surroundings should have water resource in order to supply for generation of steam. Second is availability of fuel. It must have source of fuel to heat and burn the oil in the furnace. It is main source in the process or generate electricity. Third is the type of land. The oil power generation must have enough space to handle power plant. It must near at the river or sea to get the water easily. And fourth is the cost of the land must be minimum of economical. It is because you do not need to highly budget to build oil power plant. Then last but not least is population density of the land. It should be far from public area in order to avoid failure hazard properly to society. Then we move to multiple model. A heat engine is a device that transforms heat to work. It accepts some heat from the source and then produces work while rejecting heat to the lost temperature. On internal combustion engine, such as turbine and steam turbine, are qualified as a heat engine. Heat engine efficiency. Let us derive an expression for the efficiency of a heat engine. We can define heat engine efficiency as efficiency equal to work output over energy supply, where Q1 is heat flow source to heat engine, Q2 is heat reject from heat engine to sea, W is work output from heat engine. From thermodynamic first law, delta U is equal to Q1 minus W. Then let we assume that delta U is equal to Q2. Q2 equal to Q1 minus W. Then work output equal to Q1 minus Q2, and we assume like first equation. Then work input is equal to Q1 as a second equation. As we know, efficiency formula equal to work output over work input as our third formula. Then we substitute 1 and 2 into the 3. Then we get efficiency equal Q1 minus Q2 over 2Q1. Hence, the heat engine efficiency is Q1 minus Q2 over Q1. Then we get, after we derive, we get 1 minus Q2 over Q1. Then 1 is heat rejected over 2 heat supply. For Q2 is equal to 0, efficiency will be 100%, but in actual, this is not possible because there will be some loss in energy in the system. Therefore, every engine has a limit for its efficiency. Carnot reversible heat engine. The maximum efficiency is only for a reversible engine such as Carnot heat engine. Efficiency is equal to 1 minus Q2 over Q1. Then we get a 1 minus temperature 2 over temperature V. Temperature 2 is temperature of sink and temperature 1 is temperature of source. From the above relationship, it is obvious that the efficiency of engine depends on the temperature of source T1 and temperature of sink T2. Therefore, when the source and sink at the same temperature, T1 equal to T2, and the efficiency will be 0. Thus, the higher the hot temperature source, then the higher the efficiency. That's all from me. Thank you.
Thank you, Muhammad Zaini. I want to present about content. How many of the pollution got access to the electricity produced? The majority of stations produce between 200 megawatts and 1500 megawatts. Each resident in the low voltage class will receive 120 volt until 240 volt for daily use. If a station produces 200 megawatt, it can power of a minimum of almost 1.6 million houses and a maximum 83334 houses. If 1500 megawatt, a station can support at least 12.5 million and up to 6.2 million houses. The population that has access to electricity produced range from 833,334 to 1.2 million households. Percentage of the tide power generation in the energy mix. In Japan, electricity was produced in various types of sources such as coal, oil, gas, nuclear, solar, wind, geo, bio-waste and hydro. Coal and gas are the two most important sources of electricity, accounting for 31.6% of a total production. The second source is renewable energy, which accounts for 83.1% of total energy consumption. Solar energy accounts for 9.0%. Wind energy accounts for 1.0% too. Geothermal energy accounts for 0.3%. Bio-waste accounts for 2.5% and hydro accounts for 10.3%. Nuclear is third, accounting for 6.0% of the total. Then, there are which account for 4.0% and other sources which account for 3.7%. Are there any government committed towards promoting a sustainable and cleaner production of the type of power generation? There are no government committed towards promoting of an oil power generation. Oil is non-renewable. It only can form 300 million years. At the future, the existence of oil sources can not be confirmed. The build cost of oiling is expensive and the source located is hard to determine. Oil is highly demanded in industries such as bicycle, machine and generator. Due to this, the oil source is overpriced. This will affect the oil power station to get continuous oil supply to produce electricity. Oil power plant will make air pollution. It will emit carbon dioxide into the atmosphere. This can make our ozone layer will reduce. The oil power generation cannot produce cleaner product as government's mission to protect the greenhouse. Compare three of the power generation already existing in Southeast Asia. Other regions can be considered if the type of power generation is still uncommon in Southeast Asia and James. There are many oil power generation in Southeast Asia. Here is some oil power generation to compare. It from Indonesia, Malaysia, and Philippines. Oil power plant from Indonesia is Muara Kerang CCGT power plant. Indonesia from Malaysia is Gelongor CCGT power plant, Malaysia, and from Philippines is FPPC Bawang Diesel power plant, Philippines. Power generation Muara Karang CCGT Power Plant. Location North Jakarta, Jakarta Raya, Indonesia. Total generated power 780 megawatt. Operation, it has 5 units. This infrastructure is the type gas power plant with a design capacity of 780 megawatt. Number 2, Gulugur CCGT Power Plant Malaysia. Location Gulugur, Pulau Pinang, Malaysia. Total generated power 330 megawatt. The operation, it has 3 units. This infrastructure is of type gas power plant with a design capacity of 330 megawatt. Lastly, FPPC Bawang Diesel Power Plant. Location Bawang La Union, Philippines. Total generated power 235 megawatt. Operation, it has 1 unit in infrastructure of type oil power plant with a design capacity of 235 megawatt. Thank you.
Thank you, Mama Amir. Advantage of oil power plant is oil has high energy density. Almost everywhere in the world, oil is freely available. It is easily accessible for use, thanks to excellent transportation network that are present practically everywhere. Ship, tanker, and pipeline are all examples of oil transportation channel. Second is oil is used in a variety of industry. Oil is used in practically every industry. It is difficult to find a product that has a wider range of application than oil energy. Almost all of the items we use have at some level of oil input at some point in their manufacturing process. As a result, oil is one of the most important input in practically all sectors around the world. Lastly, oil is a constant power source. Oil is one such source because it has been shown to be consistently reliable in producing energy at all times of the day. Most engines that run on oil energy has been constructed using mature technology to reduce the likelihood of failure. In comparison to other energy sources such as solar and wind, oil energy is thus very reliable. Disadvantage of oil power plant. First, emission of green gas. Oil combustion emit gas such as carbon dioxide and other greenhouse gas. These gases are extremely detrimental to the ozone layer because their accumulation accelerates depletion. The continued destruction of the ozone layer eventually lead to global warming. This incident can be extremely hazardous to your survival on Earth. All countries in the globe have signed numerous accords, but the outcome have been limited due to the enormous demand for the commodity. Second is water pollution. Crude oil is used for transportation. As a result, water transport is the most valuable alternative for transporting the commodity from one location to another. This causes spills which are harmful to aquatic life. Lastly, oil refining produces high toxic substance. Oil is basically a complex mixture of hydrocarbon. This hydrocarbon must first be purified before they may be used in a variety of ways. Whereas harmful gas such as carbon monoxide and solids such as plastic are emitted during this process. The environmental issue of using oil power plant. First, global warming emission. When oil, coal, and gas are used, they not only supply energy need, but they also contribute to the current global warming catastrophe. When fossil fuels are used, they emit a substantial amount of carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide emission trap heat in the atmosphere, causing climate change. The combustion of fossil fuel, mainly in the power and transportation sector, contribute for almost 3/4 of carbon emission in the oil power generation business. Second, oil pollution. Air pollution emission guidelines limit the number of certain pollutant that power station can emit into the atmosphere. Power plant achieve this regulation in a variety of ways, including by burning low sulphur oil, which reduce CO2 emission. Some coal-fired power stations use oil to burn wood chip to reduce CO2 emission. Retaining and processed oil can help reduce the level of unwanted chemical in combustion gas. Third, land use and wildlife. The extraction, processing, and transportation of subterranean oil and gas reserve has a significant impact on our landscape and ecosystem. The fossil fuel sector lists enormous swaths of land for infrastructure such as well, pipeline, access road, and processing, waste storage, and waste disposal facilities. Even once the operation are complete, the nutrient-rich land will never be the same. As a result, key animal habitat land that is essential for breeding and migration is fragmented and destroyed. Even animals with the ability to fly can suffer because they are frequently forced into less than ideal habitat and must fight for resources with existing fauna. Lastly, water use and pollution. The direct loss of consumption of water connected with oil and gas while construction and operation. On the other hand, man necessitated between 2 and 7 million gallons of source water during the drilling process. Water is used as a lubricant during drilling and may be injected during secondary recovery, which involve the injection of water or other liquid to increase pressure and productivity. The ocean can absorb up to a quarter of all man-made carbon emission. Since the beginning of the Industrial Revolution, the ocean has gotten 30% more acidic. The amount of calcium carbonate, a material required by oyster, lobster, and countless other marine animals to make shell decrease when water acidity rise. This can cause development rate to stall, shell to deteriorate, and entire food system to be jeopardized. In conclusion, our power generation is a good significant game changer for global industry and power generation. It also carries a significant deal of responsibility for preserving natural resources and ensuring environmental sustainability in a world that is continually changing. However, due to environmental consequences and the depletion of fossil fuel reserves, the current pattern of power generation cannot be sustained in the near future. In this regard, two primary technology, namely renewable energy and energy efficient, can provide the impetus to achieve sustainable energy for oil power generation, particularly in fossil fuel energy efficient solutions such as demand side management, smart grid, and storage system can all help to improve the sustainability of energy. It can generate sustainable power of utilizing renewable energy resources and implementing energy saving methods. Thank you. That's all from us. Thank you. Assalamualaikum.